Welcome to BlueBoxPHP tutorial series. This is part 3 in our jewellery project. You see leading on from part 2, we have the project already open, and what we're going to do in this part is we're going to create the data content for the bracelet and earrings page, and also the detail view. So the first thing we'll do is we're actually going to create content for the bracelet, and we're going to do this by creating a new query. So selecting the query node, and right click, and new query for the data box, not the detail box. The data box, we select that. This opens up our query window. If we now just give it a name, we'll call it bracelet. And in here we're just going to type in an SQL query. So we're just selecting the ID, code, category, image, price from jewelry where category equals bracelet. Just note that on the select clauses, these are accent graves, they're not single quotes, and on the bracelet these are single quotes. So all your categories are wrapped in accent graves, and your where clause condition value is in single quotes. Okay, so we now select add query. We now have this query box here. What we're going to do is we're going to select query box, and again this opens up the box editor. We're going to select layout. We're going to keep with the selecting the details bottom layout option, and we're going to set the settings the same as I did for the jewelry data box. So border color, I'll just make 2 FFF, which is white, CSS RGB value, and we're going to send the photo width to 150, and we're going to set the photo height to just the percent sign, so it keeps the image in proportional. And we're now also going to map the fields. Okay, so we're trying to map the product photo field, but we haven't got an image field available. So that's because if we now go back to look at the query box for bracelet and open it, we can see that if we now select the image item, the item editor is still set to text. So what we want to do is the same as we did in the data box for jewelry, is we select the image and we tell it to find it in the image jewelry thumbs directory that we created before. Okay, so now going back to selecting the query box bracelet editor again, going to layout. If we now try to map product photo, yeah, we can see we've got an image type and image field. We're going to leave image alt, title and description empty. We're going to select product price, which is a price field. We've got an add to cart, but we haven't created the button for it yet, and we've got a product link, and we're just going to select detail for that. So we'll just quickly correct a Google Cart button. Again with query box bracelet selected, right click, select new item, in type select Google Cart, again call it Google BTN, and I will select the price field, image field, and again create category is also the category field, add it to the name, and say code, and now select the code field, and that's the name, and quickly create a new option for the bracelets, and we'll call it sizes, and again we'll just give it a straight text list for bracelet sizes, and select create option, and select OK for our new button. If we now look at add to cart, again the item hasn't been displayed because the list hasn't been refreshed. We can easily refresh the list just by changing to another node and coming back again. If we now select layout, and in our add to cart we've now got our Google button. So the next thing we want to do now is we want to put our bracelet data box into our bracelet page. So with the query box bracelet selected, we'll left click and drag and drop into bracelet content. And again, selecting the query box within the page, we'll right click and edit the box. Again, we'll tell it to use 4 cards per row, not display the table, not display filters and sorting. This time we don't have to put any additional query in it. We select OK. And we'll now select the bracelet page and rebuild the bracelet page. Okay, this is telling us that we don't have a detail box selected for query yet, and that's correct. We're going to build that shortly, so we'll just click to them as OK. And again, what we want to do is just clicking on the browser, Control and hit F5 so that the browser refreshes. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to change the pages system, get rid of the bracelet in the caption again, and we need to add a detail query box, and we also need to add our Google cart for our Google button. So doing that quickly, we'll just select query box in our queries again. We'll clear out the caption. We'll go to our pager. We'll select the baby pink design and tell it to use 8 items again at maximum, and we'll align it to the left. We'll now rebuild the page, bracelet page, again about the detail boxes. Okay, so the page is now selected correctly. Okay, so we'll now create our detail boxes for some more displays. So selecting the queries node, right click and new query detail box option this time, and we're going to give it a name of jewelry details, and we'll enter our query for the details. And this time we're just going to select the ID, image and description from jewelry. We can test the query. Yeah, okay, that's success, and we'll now add the query. Okay, so we've now created a jewelry detail box called jewelry details. If we select this item, it opens up the box editor in detail layout mode, and we're going to select this detail template for our jewelry. So selecting that, again, same as with the other layouts, we have to map fields to it. So quickly going back, opening up our jewelry detail box, we'll select the image item. Again, we'll tell it it's of image type, but this time the image path is we want the large images. So we won't select the thumbnails, we'll select the full size images that we added in part 1. Okay, so now selecting our data box again. So in product field, we're going to select the image column. Product details, we'll select our description column, and we won't use anything for the alt and title tags. Okay, the other thing we can do with our detail boxes is we need to give it a size that we actually want the overlay to be displayed at. So we're going to, as we're going for a photo width, and our large photos are 500 pixels, we're going to give it 510 to allow for a little bit of padding. And also we need to set a minimum height. We know that our images are actually around 470 pixels. This is only a minimum height, so we'll just set it as 430. And in our photo height, again, we'll just enter percent size so it's proportional to the width. Okay, so that's our detail box now created. We now need to tell data box bracelet exactly where to find its detail. So in the bracelet page, select the query box bracelet. First of all, select in detail and right click and select edit. Details, we'll leave the details displayed as an overlay. We need to select the primary key or unique field for the table. So we know that our primary key in this table is the ID, so we'll select ID, and we also tell it the actual detailed query box, and we only have one, which is jewelry details. We now select OK. If we now rebuild the bracelet page, we still have our bracelets, but if we now select the details option, we can see that our detail box is now brought up. We have our image, and we have the bracelet description or the bracelet name